I saw it on channel.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory Board. I'd like to thank you for being here this evening for our June meeting. We've got some great items to discuss. I'd like to start off the evening having the Pledge of Allegiance. I've asked Jennifer to lead us in that. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Soon this evening, the flag will enter the arena at the Reno Rodeo for the first time this year. Exciting times. Last week I was watching the flag team practice and I wish I was there every night, but I'm here with you.
Hey. I'm sorry.
That being your presence, we'll move to item A1 for a call to order and roll call. Ms. Sandy.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Jared Southern,
Present.
Victoria Luck, absent at this time. John White,
Present.
Benjamin Johnson,
Present.
Kathleen Egan. Present. Rebecca Flannery. Present. Thank you. Council Liaison, Councilmember Megan Ebert. Absent at this time. Staff Liaison Abigail Mayorga present, along with Jennifer Alvarez. Mr. Chair, you do have a quorum of the Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory Board.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then the introduction of our intern as well. if you
Oh,
could.
yes, and Ray Sloan right here. Thank you.
Thank you for being willing to intern for the city of Reno. All right, so A2 for public comment, and Ms. Abby, if you'd like to go ahead to share some information about public comment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Our first item today is public comment. Members of the public may hear, observe, and provide public comment virtually by registering to the following link, which can be found on the reno.gov/meetings website. And the link is as follows: https://links.gov/4/LINKS/4 It should be noted for those in attendance that comments are to be addressed to the board as a whole. Comments heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the agenda. The board may not take action upon any matter not agendized on today's agenda. When you are called on for public comment, please state your name for the record and begin speaking. The timer will begin when you say your name and you will be afforded 3 minutes. At this time, Mr. Chair, I haven't received any in-person public comment. If you would like to do so, now is your time. If you are a participant on Zoom who would like to give public comment, I ask that you raise your hand. You can use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and I'll give you a minute to do so. Seeing none, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving forward to item A3 for approval of the agenda for our meeting for June 20th, seeking a motion for approval.
Kathleen Egan, motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
Ben Johnson, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Item A4, approval minutes from March 21st and April 18th of this year, seeking a motion for approval.
Ben Johnson, a motion for approval, or motion to approve.
Thank you.
John White, seconds.
Thank you so much. All in favor?
Aye.
At this point, I'd like to move to A6 for staff liaison report.
Awesome. The only announcement that I have 2 announcements, Mr. Chair. So next Wednesday, we will be, Councilmember Ebert will be connecting with the artist. It will be a media availability and we would like to invite the board. It's next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. at the Sky Vista Parkway. It's to unveil the artwork that you guys voted on and had input a couple months ago. So it's a great opportunity, but they will be hung up in the next couple of days. So you might see them a little before, but I did want to let you guys know that we're basically concluding that. And that was an awesome project that Councilmember Ebert led. So that's awesome. The second thing is that I know typically we don't meet in July, but we will be having a meeting in July. There are a couple development applications that came through. So we want to make sure that they come to the board for your guys' review. And that's all I have. So regular business next month.
Can you remind us again of the date for the unveiling?
Yes. Pull up all the details actually. Okay. So it's next Wednesday. 26?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And July meeting is 18th.
Yes.
Very good.
And
Um,
then-
At this point in time, I'd like to move forward to the or consent agenda. B1 is acceptance of nominations for the City of Reno Ward 4 Community Champion. With presentation for the City of Reno staff.
Yes, so that is me again. I think in January, we brought the City of Reno Community Champion program to the NAB. Ultimately, the Community Champion program is just to highlight those in the community that are doing work that deserve recognition from the board or council members. So this is our first round of applications. I did extend an invitation to the invitee, but unfortunately he is unable to make it, but I will make sure that he gets his recognition. So all I'm asking the board today is for acceptance of these nominations. Even if the participant can't come, I would still like to kind of clear out the queue and make sure that we're good to go for the next couple of nominations. But the staff report is attached and his application is also attached. So yeah, if you have any questions, the applicant was Arthur Munoz, who is the outgoing Ward 4 Planning Commissioner. So he did serve for a total of 4 years. And obviously his efforts and contributions played an integral role in shaping the community out here in Ward 4. So I would entertain a motion for acceptance.
Jared Souther, for the record, I'd like to go ahead and motion for acceptance of this application for Arthur Munoz.
Kathleen Negan, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys. And just as a reminder, if you have anyone that you feel would qualify in this, I ask that you submit a nomination for. Thank you.
Awesome. And now we have the pleasure of hearing a presentation about Advanced Purified Water Facility at American Flat update.
Where do you want me to stay? Right over there? Okay. Okay, thank you. My name is Lydia Teal. I'm with Truckee Meadows Water Authority, and I'm joined with a few folks today, John Enlow, Truckee Meadows Water Authority, Joe Coudrier, Dustin Waters, and John Flansburgh from City of Reno. And so we are working jointly on a project. It's called Advanced Purified Water. And so we are looking at a new facility where we're creating advanced purified water. And so what I'm going to do today is explain what is that water resource, where would that facility go, and talk to you about all the efforts we've been working on for really the past decade. So before I jump into what advanced purified water is, I want to first talk about reclaimed water in the Truckee Meadows. And so reclaimed water is just simply wastewater that's been treated, it's disinfected and filtered, and it's treated to a high level to where it's safe for irrigation of ballparks. Kids can play in it, it can get on them, it's safe, it's just not potable. And it's also used for industrial uses, construction, spray water. And so this is the purple pipe you see around town. It's very commonly used in our region. And we've been doing this for several decades. The great thing about this is it's a great opportunity to recycle a water resource and reuse it. And rather than using Truckee River water that's clean and pristine to then spray on a construction site, we can reuse this water and use it for that type of use. So it really saves us about 10% of our regional water supply that we can recycle, and we don't have to pull from wells or from the Truckee River for those types of uses. But you think in the desert, it would be a little easier to manage wastewater and find a way to manage that. And so the effluent management can be challenging in the Reno area. And so in 2016, new regulations were passed. Nevada Division of Environmental Protection down in Carson City, they are the ones who regulate wastewater, drinking water, and reclaimed water. And so there's different classes of reclaimed water, the purple pipe, category A through E, and that's just different types of treatment, and they can be used for different things based on their level of treatment. And so in 2016, they introduced a category A+, which is advanced purified water. And really, it's where you start with reclaimed water and you put it through several advanced treatment processes and it turns into drinking water. So this is not new. It happens all across the country. And in Nevada, our regulations require an environmental buffer. And so it's also known as indirect potable reuse. You may have heard that phrase before. And that environmental buffer is after we treat the reclaimed water to drinking water, we have to store it underground. So that water is then injected into an aquifer where it can be stored for years before it's needed to be pulled out. And so many cities along the coast also use this for seawater intrusion, where they put this clean water underground to kind of create a barrier to save their drinking water wells from pulling seawater in. So there's different types of uses of injecting this water into the aquifer, but you get natural treatment from Mother Nature, and it's just a great environmental buffer. So this advanced purified water has to meet federal and state drinking water regulations. This is in the NDEP regulation. It also has to remove unregulated constituents of emerging concerns. So these are things that you might be hearing about in the news, like PFAS. If you've heard of these compounds, like the Teflon that's in your pots and pans, or the Gore-Tex, things that wash off your clothes, or flame retardants, pharmaceuticals, and personal care products. So we have to remove those. We have to remove pathogens like Giardia. If you're ever out hiking, careful when you drink out of the stream, there might be Giardia in it. And so that's also, we have to remove those types of pathogens and virus. So we're really meeting everything that drinking water has to meet, but we're also meeting unregulated contaminants. It's very common throughout the US, and it's safe, reliable, and sustainable, and it has a lot of environmental benefits of recharging the groundwater and trying to restore aquifers that may be overpumped. So I just want to recap really quick what it is and what it isn't. So it is sourced from regional water reclamation facilities. So it starts with wastewater going through the entire water reclamation facility, the wastewater plant, and the advanced purified water process starts with that purple pipe water. That's step one, and then it goes through several advanced processes from there. And then from there, that's where it goes underground for more natural treatment. It's regulated to rigorous state and federal standards, and it can be used for several uses, but mainly for groundwater replenishment, and it's suitable for potable use for drinking or for other high quality uses. Now, what it isn't, it's currently not being produced in our region at this time. There's actually no advanced purified water facilities in Nevada at this time. It's not purple pipe water. Again, that's step one. So we're not taking purple pipe water, looking at that and putting that in the ground. We're looking at using that purple pipe reclaimed water as our source water of what we would start with, and then putting it through several steps after that. We're not looking at this to increase disposal to the Truckee River. We're looking at ways to keep more water in the Truckee River. And so this could be a great opportunity for that down the road. And one thing we always like to point out is it's not always appropriate to treat all your wastewater and effluent to advanced purified water standards, because if you're going to treat it to drinking water and spend all that time and effort just to spray it on a construction site when you don't need to, that's a really important thing that we like to say. It's like a fit for purpose. Treat to what you're using your water for. I mentioned that's used all over the country and really, quite frankly, all over the world. These are different cities that have programs, large scale facilities and demonstrations. I was just at a conference in Southern California, and they have Orange County Water District. If you've been to Disneyland, you drank the water, if you drank out of the water fountains there. And they have one of the largest programs in the United States where they treat a huge amount of water, 150 million gallons per day, and put that underground. And for reference, if you think of the whole city of Reno area in the hottest part of the summer, how much water our community uses in one day, that's how much water that Orange County is treating and putting underground every single day. So that's kind of a reference for you. So it's very common. And there's actually an updated map that's going to be released in like a week that there's double the amount now on this. So I want to talk about One Water Nevada. So One Water Nevada formed with a group of all the different agencies of Truckee Meadows Water Authority, City of Reno, City of Sparks, Washoe County, and the University of Nevada, Reno, with our water planning commissions. And we came together several years ago to look at our water resources and how can we manage water and wastewater in our region and work together as a team. And so this is just one project that we're working on, but the Advanced Purified Water project actually began back in 2008 when City of Reno began piloting this type of technology at the Reno Stead Water Reclamation Facility. And so this was several years ago and really was groundbreaking for the type of technology and the industry. And so now fast forward to 2017, we came back together to look at advanced purified water. We have the regulations now. Will it work for our region? And so we had these really cool pilot trailers set up. We had 3 of them, and we were taking the reclaimed water from Reno Stead, putting it through all 3 of these trailers, and at the end we had drinking water. And we actually had a well on site that we could inject down into the hole and pull back out and do the whole project. It's small scale, so maybe 5 to 10 gallons a minute, like a garden hose or 2, but it gave us a lot more control. We ran this for about 5 years between Washoe County's South Truckee Meadows facility and then at Reno Stead. And it actually was the first Category A permit in Nevada. And so that was really a big deal for this, that we were able to get the first permit with all of the strict water quality goals. And we ran it like a treatment plant, where Tumwa had our operators 24/7 watching it remotely. And at 3 a.m. I'd get a call that if there was an alarm, it would shut down, it would shut off all water to the well. And so for us to have such a small scale treated as one of our drinking water plants was pretty cool, having our staff work together with Reno staff. But one thing I want to point out with our technology, I'm not going to dive in too much to our technology, but a lot of those cities on that map use reverse osmosis. Some of you might have reverse osmosis on your home. I'm on a domestic well, I have it under my sink. And so it creates a brine. So all of the contaminants that get blocked in that membrane concentrate in a kind of a really high concentrated stream with salts, contaminants, everything you don't want in your waste stream. And now you have to get rid of it. So a lot of these communities on the ocean can just dispose of it in the ocean, and we don't have that luxury here being an inland community. And so we are looking at another option. It's a carbon biological treatment process. And this is really starting to emerge, and communities are beginning to look at this from the 2008 work that City of Reno began with, looking at it's a carbon-based filter that actually has microbes and a biology living on it that can degrade these pharmaceuticals and contaminants. And so that's just one process of the whole long treatment process. We've got about 10 processes on it, but it's really nice not to use membranes, and many facilities that are being planned in the US have kind of watched our work and our published papers and seen the demonstration and are kind of moving towards that direction. So we completed the demonstration of that 5-year study in the pilot trailers. So we are now looking at a full-scale facility. So this is envisioned to be Nevada's first Category A+ large-scale facility. We are working very closely. Tumwa is a joint venture with City of Reno, looking at the Reno Stead facility as that source. And the conceptual rendering there is the facility that we are currently in design for. And that would be located just across the street from Reno Stead. There's an empty lot on the corner of Military and Lear. And so this project, again, is in design. It's not a cheap project. It's $220 million. But if you saw on the news last week, we are very fortunate to get a Bureau of Reclamation grant for $30 million awarded. And that was the max amount we could have been awarded. And actually, I think they only awarded in the US 85 million or so to the entire United States, and we got 30 of that. So that was very impressive. It made us feel that they believe in the project and see the use for it just as much as we do. And the last thing is why we chose this site is you have to find a suitable aquifer. You can treat the water to drinking water, but if you have nowhere to put it underground, that's a problem. And so you have to find an aquifer that, one, can handle that amount of water, and 2, doesn't have naturally occurring arsenic or nitrate in it, to where you create this clean drinking water and now you put it underground with arsenic and now your water's contaminated. So this was a really important component of why we picked this site. And I think on the next slide, I have a map showing where, so the facility is down here, Reno Stead, corner of Military and Lear. And we are looking at injecting that into the aquifer by the American Flat Farm. This is just above just north of the Reno Stead Airport. And you might be familiar with the alfalfa fields that are out there right now. There's a few pivots. And so it is a long way away, but again, that's why we have to have that suitable aquifer. And so that is where we're looking at having that facility run along with the pipeline. And then we have another option of how then years down the road, which I'll talk about the phasing of this, is how it would be introduced to Tumwa's drinking water system. So I could talk about this project and really get into the weeds, but, I mean, the technology is there. We've tested it. Other utilities across the country have tested it, and it's not a new technology. It's something it's newer than membranes, but, we've been working really hard with the University of Nevada, with working with us to help with that research, help us with our sampling plans. What's the current kind of research in the industry like? And so it's really nice having an unbiased kind of research capacity there, working with Dr. Krishna Pagila. And then we also have these independent advisory panel. And so these folks they're engineers, they're hydrologists, public outreach consultants. We've got folks who actually were on the passing of California's potable reuse regulations many years ago. So we have experts from around the country to help us with different components of our project to tell us, well, you need to bolster up this part, or here's advice for that. And then they tell us where they like our approach. And so it's been really nice to have, again, an unbiased group of folks that have knowledge and have seen what can cause a project to fail, or seen what really can accelerate a project. And so again, the technology is there, but it's working with the public and getting that message out there and educating them, because we understand if the public absolutely can hear about these types of projects and immediately think, ew, I don't want to drink that. And so it's just about showing them the technology and showing that it is safe. There's several different processes and barriers for that water to go through, and it's very clean and very pure at the end. I drank it. I think in front of a couple groups, 6 months pregnant, drinking the water from Orange County. And I think just seeing the treatment and seeing it really, it's a very great use of our resources. I think on the last side, I have our timeline. And so this is where I want to talk about the phased approach, because this isn't just going to happen tomorrow. It's been years and years in the making. I mean, probably 10 years overall of piloting and demonstration and getting regulations passed. We work very closely with NDEP along the way. They're part of the team. And so we're looking at construction startup in about a year. That would last roughly 2 years. And once the facility is constructed, we would like to do a phased approach. So phase 1, before we even put water in the aquifer, we'd like to irrigate the farm with that and get a year's worth of data, to understand how the treatment is working, make sure it's effective before we put it underground. Phase 2, then we would put it underground and then pull it out and use that to continually to irrigate until we feel comfortable to put it in our distribution system. So I'd say the earliest we're looking at putting it into the potable water distribution system is 2030. And we just feel like that is a long ways out, but we want to take this phased approach. Being the first facility in Nevada, we feel a big responsibility, and we want to take every step, take our time with every step and make sure we're doing it right. So with that, I think that's it. Happy to take questions. I have some colleagues in the back too that can help answer questions if need to be.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the presentation.
you.
Anyone from the board with questions? Yes, Kathleen.
Kathleen Egan for the record. Couple questions here. The 220 with the $30 million grant, so we got 190. How do I say this? For the cost for that, does that include ongoing operational costs? What does that 220 cover for right now through 2030? How long is that money expected to last? And then what's the plan for raising that money going forward? That's
Right.
question one. Follow up to that is, if you only have a $30 million grant, what do we tell our neighbors? Are the rates going to increase?
Those are great questions. And I think that that's something that we take to heart, because we don't want, we're sensitive to rates and raising them. And so this is a joint venture. So 70% will be covered by City of Reno, 30% Tumwa, and that 220 million is design and construction and planning costs. So once the facility is then built, it's probably maybe $1 million plus for operational costs for chemicals and staffing for everything you could think of
For a year?
per year. But I think that's in line with our other facilities. And so that is split 50-50 between
1 million.
probably 1 to 2 million per year for operational costs. And that includes operations of some of the facilities at Reno Stead as well. Because some of their treatment processes will be incorporated.
What part of the construction startup, what's part of this phase are you expecting to add the additional million per year for operation?
So that's after the facility's built, so after the orange on the timeline. And so once the facility is completely built, then we move towards the operational phase. And so, the city and Tumwa have pursued SRF, we submitted SRF funding, grant applications, and I know there's a few other projects we're waiting on, grants we're waiting on to hear for like the PFAS contamination. I know NDEP has funding for that, so we're waiting to hear for that. We've gotten a $3 million grant earlier in the year too. And so I know these are just kind of small chunks. And so we're looking at new development driven fees for that mostly. And I don't know if anyone in the back, City of Reno, if you want to speak on your half or.
And for the 70% City of Reno, has that already been approved for future budget? So the 30% that we're expecting for Tumwa to cover specifically, are they gonna regroup those costs without raising rates?
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, so for the record, John Flansburgh, City of Reno. One of the things that this project also does is it creates water rights. And water rights are over 40,000 an acre foot in North Valleys. And so there is cost recovery from this project also that it will produce revenue from the sale of those water rights. So that's a one piece of the financing puzzle, if you will. Up front, yes, we will have to finance. And we also have included that in our connection fees. So future development coming in, those are part of those costs of connection.
Anyone else with questions? Oh.
No, I do not.
Okay,
Rebecca Flannery for the record. Will these pipes be underground or will they be the ones going back? Are they gonna be above ground, underground? Like, are they gonna be a eyesore or are they?
They'll be underground.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. And at the actual American Flat site, it'll just be a couple small well house buildings. And one comment too, just to add to that, on the conceptual rendering, we've had, we've had several public meetings that we've had out at the airport. And one of them was kind of a pre-game, I guess, if you will, before the actual meeting where we need to go talk to the neighborhood and all of the neighbors and work with them on the trees, the lighting, the driveways. And so we decided to have one before it was required, just because we're starting the design. We want to make sure that we're heard and make sure we're not putting a facility out there that, again, it's not, hopefully not going to be an eyesore. We're working really hard to have it look very nice. We'll have a community outreach center that schools and different groups can come, and it'll be all about water and get your hands on different types of kind of discovery museum exhibits. And so we're trying to make it a community type of area.
Jared Souther for the record. One thing at the beginning of the presentation, we're talking about reclaimed water. Don't see much availability for that in the North Valleys. I see more of the South Meadows area being used. Is there a possibility for more increased use of reclaimed water as well, or?
Yeah, and the reclaimed water is great if you have the customers for it. And so I think a lot of the homes and apartments, you have apartments being built, which is creating more wastewater flow coming in, but then you don't really necessarily have a customer then on the back end. And so that can be the challenge with reclaimed water, is where if you don't have enough customers, where do you put it? And so in this scenario, it goes to Swan Lake. And so another huge benefit of this project is it's taking flows out of Swan Lake, creating it into a drinking water resources, and it's storing it underground. So that can help manage those flows as well. Because I think, and I don't want to speak for Reno on the reclaimed water customers, but I don't know what you guys have for projections of how that reclaimed water customer demand will go up over time.
I think.
Yeah.
So Joe, with the City of Reno right now, even though we do have reuse in the summertime, look on an annual basis, about 25% of the water that comes into the facility becomes purple pipe water, and the rest of it actually goes to Swan Lake. And that's mainly because in the wintertime, that can't go to reuse customer. And in the shoulder seasons, there's less use. So you really have the summer season, which is the primary use season. The rest of the time, Swan Lake is the primary discharge location. So that's why this facility is able to create a water resource, utilizing this water and not utilizing it just once, but creating a potable water resource that then gets stored in the aquifer. I don't know if that answers the question. We have actually very recently added some customers. The O'Brien came on, middle school, Mayor's Park came on with the expanded reuse recently. I would say wholesale in the near term, that purple pipe system we're not going to be branching it out. There's a few small customers right within our existing distribution system that makes sense, maybe. But with this project, we're going to want to maximize the utilization of this mass purified water facility, and then, you know, moving forward in time if it's the right decision, which at some point I believe it would be again, looking at expanding the purple pipe system would be on the table. There's some questions not fully answered, but that's sort of the vision of this.
Another question I have is that this American Flats, will it have the capacity to distribute the water throughout the northern, or like the Truckee Meadows, or is it just in the North Valleys? Like, who's going to be receiving this water?
We've just started looking at, you know, where modeling of that. I mean, I think there's options to where it potentially could with the right infrastructure enhancements to where it could be distributed more widely. I think right now we're just looking at like the Stead region, but at the same time, we want to use this as a model facility to where we can have other facilities in the region. So it would be great if, you know, the whole community could have a piece of that water. So I think right now we're still looking at options of, does it make sense to keep it in one region or spend pumping costs, pump it over here? And so right now we're just focusing on kind of the Stead area with that capacity.
With that being said, like, how many additional facilities in the Reno Sparks area do you anticipate bringing online in the next, say, 2 decades?
Well, you know, I'm going to say direct potable reuse is kind of on the horizon, and California just passed regulations, Colorado, other states are looking at it. And what that does is it takes that groundwater component out of it. So you treat the water to a high degree, and then you put it straight into the drinking water plant at the front, or you just put it straight into the distribution system. So that's coming at some point in Nevada. And so if you had direct potable reuse, it gives you a lot more options where you don't have to find that suitable aquifer. You have to add a couple more treatment processes to make up for what's happening in the ground. So, I mean, I would say I would expect at least one more facility if you're looking at a couple decades in the region. So, I mean, it would be great if we could have more because, I mean, like I said, effluent management can be challenging.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Quickly. Kathleen, you can for the record, is there anyone from Tumwa here? The city of Reno? John, are you representing Tumwa?
So we have Lydia and John.
Okay, so a question for me, since you used this as a picture on your slide with the golf course. So this is more of a comment. You know very well that your contract with because of city and county, the contracts with the other golf courses in the region, their rates for their water is not what we have at Sarasate. So we're in the North Valley, and if rates are increased, well, right now, Sarasate, we might be going under, and we're gonna lose that considerable community recreational area for our community citizens because they have, I'm gonna use it, it's an unfair contract they have of the water that's being charged to Sarasate.
Let me take that.
So you can, explain it, so I can then tell my neighbors that what I said is incorrect.
Perfect. So Washoe County is actually on both sides of this equation. Washoe County owns the golf course and they have an agreement with CRSH with Massa Ferrazzi. I'm trying to think of it. They have a Mass Golf, I think. I'm trying to remember the name of the group. They have a contract with them to run the golf course. Washoe County also owns and operates the South Truckee Meadows plant. Water is so different in Reno, depending on where you are. In South Truckee Meadows, you see a lot of effluent being used. You see a lot of green medians and the parks and those things, because they need to have customers for their effluent. Because they actually have a reservoir. We'd love to have a reservoir up here. They have a reservoir that they can store the water in the wintertime, but they need the customers in the summertime to draw that reservoir down. And so they have made a decision to actually give the water away and charge the sewer customers for that process of disposal of the effluent. In Reno, up here, for the Reno Stead plant, we had a contract with Washoe County to actually pay for the infrastructure to actually extend all of the purple pipe system out, and that was paid for through some bonding that was completed. And then we only charged the rate to actually recover the cost of replacement of that purple pipe. So we don't charge the sewer customers for that cost. And so that's where we have a difference, is that Reno, we charge Washoe County, we don't charge the golf course. Washoe County in turn passes those costs on. And so we think Washoe County needs to be part of that discussion as well. So, and we are actually having those
I want
discussions.
to
with
have
Washoe
those,
County.
thank you, because it's a serious concern.
I understand the entire concern.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the board? Seeing none, I'd like to move to any public questions for this presentation. Seeing none, thank you so much. Any online questions?
Seeing that, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving forward to development project presentation, C1 is the Silver Dollar Elementary School.
I'll let you go first. Okay. Hi, I'm Kyle Chisholm. I'm a school planner with Walker County School District. Here with me, Eddie Chacon. He's our Assistant Director of Planning and Design, and we are very thrilled to be here to present our plans for the silver, what we're coining right now as the Silver Dollar Area Elementary School. I'll hand it off to Eddie in just a moment to go through the slides, but just wanted to say a few things. Some of you might have heard of our facilities modernization plan at Washoe County School District that was adopted in December. It set forth a, roughly $2.2 billion plan to renovate, expand, modernize all of our existing schools within Washoe County School District. This school is basically number 2 in the order of things on that list as we start to revitalize the existing schools, starting with a lot of the older schools. Obviously, you might have heard of Vaughn Middle School that we just broke ground on that one. This is kind of the next one in the series of things that was identified as a high priority. And ultimately, it's basically a replacement of Stead Elementary School. And so with that, we submitted a minor conditional use permit with the city of Reno a couple months ago. We weren't required to come to the NAB. It's an administrative approval, but just because we're the school district and we want to be transparent and get good feedback, we voluntarily came to this group. We're also sending out additional flyers to the North Valleys community in a very much broader range to elicit feedback on the school and make sure everybody's aware of what's happening. But this was kind of our first community meeting to hit for this. So with that being said, I'll hand it off to Eddie. You can go.
All right, Eddie Chacon, Washoe County School District. We can go on to the next slide there, but we are very excited. We're very excited to bring another new school to the Stead area. As you guys know, we opened O'Brien. That is right next door is Stead Elementary School. We're replacing Stead Elementary School. It's due to aging infrastructure and overcrowding. The new school, and it's down in my things here, but it's just we built 4 of these type of schools already in the Reno Sparks area. We did 2 in South Reno, 1 in Spanish Springs and 1 in Cold Springs. Same type of design, H&K designing these for us, did the prototypes. Construction is planned to start November 2020 2024. So we're going through right now, getting permits, going through all those designs already there. We're reviewing the last parts of it to get it out there and out to bid. Capacity is plus or minus 730 students, plus or minus 74, 75 staffs right in there. The old elementary school, Stead Elementary School, you know, held 400 and something. We really want to get it off of that main area road. And get the traffic somewhere else, because that's Stead Boulevard, as you guys have known and experienced for years. With the new O'Brien opening that up, having traffic go a different direction, and now trying to get Stead off of there as well, Stead Elementary School. It's going to be 2 stories, just like our other prototypes, except this one has an additional 2 classrooms. We decided that we needed at least 2 more classrooms. Everything at these schools, they have enhanced classroom spaces, STEAM lab, media center, small group learning spaces, and additional office space as well. As I said, the past prototypes, Nick Bolakitas, John C. Bohatch, Michael Inskeep, and Jay Woodrow. If you guys want to go take a look at those schools, that's what they kind of look like. And there's some next footage here. We've done many residential, as Kyle said, impacts, talking through these, making sure that we look at the lights, the noise, the traffic. We have traffic studies done on all these schools that we open up. And if we go on to the next slide there, this one is just showing where Stead Elementary School is. This is the new O'Brien. If you remember, the old O'Brien used to be right off the street. Now it's down below. Traffic kind of flows this way. Our new site location is just down the street off of Silver Dollar. Next slide. So this is kind of a landscape plan of what the school would kind of look like. You know, we do consider the landscaping, the trees and all those, we follow all regulations. Listening to the reclaim talk and all those, we brought it into O'Brien. We are having conversations to bringing it into the school, see if there's actually enough for us to get some reclaimed water for this property. But we don't use that much water just because it's all a drip system kind of thing. We do not have any grass areas or anything like that. We have all of it's mostly DG. This is just kind of showing the site plan of how it is on Silver Dollar. As it's the same type of layout as it's been in the past. We kind of fit these schools in between 8 acres and 10 acres, depending on how much we get. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, there's renderings of what the school will look like. These are the renderings with the colors that have been chosen to kind of match this kind of area, kind of fits right in. No real bright colors sticking out or anything like that. We're very excited to bring another school to this area. We think that Stead Elementary School really needs it for the students, just for new, you know, the STEAM labs, everything educational wise has upgraded since that school was built in 1958. I think it's just time for that community to get a new school. That's it right there. Does anybody have any questions?
Start with anyone from the board with questions for this.
I wasn't gonna say anything, Kathleen Egan, but for the record, can you remind the public and for us to share with our neighbors of how the county acquired this land to build this wonderful new school for our community?
I'm gonna let Kyle take that one there.
Yeah, so this site, if you want to go back to the vicinity map, this site in the Silver Dollar community was dedicated with the Silver Dollar tentative map back when that community was originally planned a long time ago. Oh, not that long ago, about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And we acquired it through a dedication from and purchased it basically through a trade with that developer at the time was D.R. Horton. And so basically to answer your question, the school, that property's always been cited for a school before the Silver Dollar community was ever there.
Which was for those of us on the NAB and the CAB at that time, working the planning commission, everyone that went through the process of working with developers to create that space. Very much appreciated.
Glad we finally get to it.
You've been waiting
long enough.
You've been waiting long enough.
Been waiting.
Yes,
Just real quick, did you say it was donated by D.R. Horton or purchased?
We
from?
purchased it.
Okay, okay.
Rebecca Planner for the record. What is going to happen with the old O'Brien
Or,
Olmsted.
or Stead Elementary?
Yeah. Old Stella Elementary School, we still have not come up with a plan on what we're going to do with that site yet. That is part of the FMP on deciding what happens to the schools that we shut down. It could be a pre-K center, where, this area kind of needs a pre-K kind of center. That could be an option. Nothing is set in stone on what it's going to be. We don't plan on tearing it down. We plan on fixing it up and trying to make it something we use, but nothing as big as hundreds and hundreds of students. No, you know, we really want to look at that. Looked at the traffic study that was done over there, and we do not want to add that much.
And I'll just add to that too, that, you know, there's gonna be a lot more community involvement with whatever happens with STED.
Correct.
We're gonna go through a whole nother process with that, the reimagining of the STED Elementary School. You know, right now it's zoned a certain way. So, you know, it can only have whatever uses are allowed there right now, right? So multifamily can't go there right now. So, you know, if that's something the city wants and the community wants, then it's gonna have to be rezoned and remaster planned. I mean, but, you know, just kind of shedding the process there. But yeah, we don't know yet.
I know
There's
watching,
lots of stakeholders involved and
I know watching just like my alma mater, Miss, you know, Proctor R. Hug High School being
Right.
demolished is super heartbreaking. Like,
That
I'm
is,
like,
that
that's
is,
my 4 years of high school just gone, you know, so.
a beautiful site though.
Councilmember Eber.
Councilmember Ebert for the record, sorry, I forgot to say that earlier. Something that I was interested in is if we can use, that school or portion of the school for a community center for Ward 4. That's not something that we currently have, but I don't know when or where to start those discussions. If we could, consider using a portion of that school or the land that the school is on and build maybe an
Are we
indoor.
talking about the old Stead Elementary
Yeah,
School? Okay.
yeah, maybe build an indoor basketball court there or something that we can use for our kids, for indoor recreation in the winter months. Or utilize the structures that are already there and maybe just kind of reconfigure things. I have met with Adam Searcy to kind of talk about that, to pitch that idea, but I don't know. if
Adam
it's-
Searcy is the person you would start the conversations with.
Okay.
I mean, that's where you go from there. I
Okay.
think he's a great contact for you and he's open to any type of ideas there.
Okay,
Yeah, that sounds like a great thing. It's just depending on how, who manages this and all that.
Yeah, I
Those
think,
are-
yeah, and I think that, you know, there's a pretty steadfast approach that this needs to be some sort of community facility.
yeah.
What that is exactly, we're not sure.
That's what
but-
we're looking at,
but
just
yeah.
trying to be productive with the community.
Okay, so there will be some kind of outreach that says, hey, what would you
Ideas.
guys like to see out
What
here?
would you like to see and all
Okay,
that, that
great.
is in the works for it.
Great.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll be involved in the next
I hope.
steps.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. All right, okay.
Awesome. Well, I'm Jared Salver. I just have a couple questions. I attended both modernization meetings that were held at O'Brien in the last year. They mentioned that the plan is to build the Silver Dollar, move Lemon Elementary to that new school, and then move them back into a new school at Lemon Valley. Is that still the plan? Or,
That is, I haven't even heard that.
that's why they're gonna build a new school at Lemon Drive as well, but they want to use it on the same site as the existing Lemon Drive. So they said, we'll flip it that way, but,
Yeah, in this Stead Elementary School, we will close Stead Elementary School and move all those students over to Stead Elementary School. We're not gonna,
Silver Dollar.
or sorry, Silver Dollar, yeah, sorry.
I know.
I really think it's gonna keep the name Stead, be honest.
Of
with you.
course, no questions.
But it's
Yeah.
Silver Dollar Area Elementary School for
Yeah.
right now.
The one thing I want to talk about more so is traffic flow and what RTC is saying, because they've just widened Sky Vista. There's no light at Trading Post yet. Have they made a commitment to put a light there with the additional buses and car traffic count that's anticipated to bring 700+ students into that school? Cause I don't see a lot of in and outs. I guess the Silver Dollar go all the way over to
It does
Coastal
not.
Fog, so you can get on Stead Boulevard that way, cause it seems like.
No,
way
it
in
dead
there.
ends right there, right? So
Okay.
it dead ends. We have done, traffic studies. We've had it, the traffic study taken into effect, talking to the city, all those kind of things. Everything right now is a go through the traffic study. Where they're anticipating putting the lights, I really can't remember.
I can't either, Eddie, I'm sorry, I wish we had Eric here tonight.
Yeah, Eric, did not come. He would know exactly where we're putting lights. I mean, there's already a roundabout here. We will definitely have lights here, but there is, as you're saying, there's gonna be traffic going in and out of that area.
Well, I think he's referring to a traffic signal, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
A traffic light.
cause there's gonna be a lot of
There's-
left turns,
There's
in and out
already
of
one
that.
up there, right, where you're circling?
No,
This is
there's
where you
not.
want it. Yeah, this is.
There is none there.
There is
There's
none. We've asked for that for years. Kathleen Egan, we've asked that for years.
What is the street? Sorry, it's.
Trading post.
Trading post coming out to Sky Vista.
Yeah, there's nothing there at this point.
I will definitely take a look at that. The traffic study didn't call out for anything there, but we will do anything that, you know, that
You
says
just want
that
a
is
light, not a
required.
traffic circle.
Light,
No,
just a
like,
light, 'cause
yeah,
it's a
that's the
big-
new
yeah.
Sky Vista.
And it goes down to that roundabout, right?
Yeah.
This has come up in previous Kathleen Egan Ferker, this has come up on many of every single planning development out here. And before they even widened Sky Vista, before they did it, we said, you're gonna need to widen it, and 5 years later, they finally widened it, after we said you needed to do that, after their initial traffic study. And we said we needed a traffic light, and they said, oh no, the traffic study, we don't need it, we don't need it. 5 years later, we had to go through, guess what they did? They widened it. We need the light.
So we're going through, we submitted, and questions, we're answering questions right now. The traffic study was submitted as well. As soon as we get through all those questions, I mean, if one does raise that says, hey, you need to do that, the school district has, we will do what needs to be done. But if it doesn't come up on there, right? And the traffic study gets approved and we get, you know, we just go by those.
It depends on the traffic warrants.
That's what yes.
Depends on the one.
It depends on the traffic warrants, and that's a whole nother process. But, you know, once those warrants are reached at that intersection, then the traffic light will be installed. But that's a discussion.
And I don't know where we're at with there yet. RTC has to tell us, you know.
Yeah, and just to walk it back a little bit to like a traffic signal, usually, you know, even the school district, most of the time wouldn't be required to put in a full traffic signal. It's gonna be a regional road, these are regional roads, so it's gonna be an RTC project. I don't know in their 5-year RTP if they have something planned for that, but I can give you a card afterwards and I'd be happy to give you that information too. But we are not putting a signal in there. I can tell you
And your
that.
goal is to open this by fall of 2026?
Yes, summer of 2026. Well, yeah.
Yep.
August, well,
We are just, I think Eddie touched on it too, though. We are putting in mini rapid reflective beacons along Silver Dollar and then I forget what's the street?
this one here, I don't
Yeah, I
remember
forget
the
the name
street
of that
name
street,
either.
but yeah, it might be Cloudburst, but we're putting, I think, what is it, at least four
Yes, four.
flashers on these adjacent streets,
Over
you know,
the-
with
yeah,
crosswalks and
crosswalks.
all that.
We're adding a lot of crosswalks through this area here too. Making sure kids have access to get to our site.
Yeah, I'm, because I don't live in that particular neighborhood, I'm trying to see the walkability from those that used to walk from the north side of Silver Lake. How they're gonna travel, if they're required to go down Sky Vista, or if there's a way to come through the neighborhood on a path that takes them off.
There is community, and you, Frank, you can help me if you remember, but there are areas to get, well, you can see it right here. Areas to get through
That
to
connects.
get to that school, yeah.
Right, thank you.
Sorry, Councilmember Ebert, for the record, this is slightly off topic, but maybe you guys can tell me who to reach out to. I have heard some concerns about O'Brien Middle School having issues with their heating and their air conditioning not working maybe as well as we would like.
So Okay, so we did have some issues with the boiler systems. Those have all been repaired now.
Okay,
We have replaced, we had a temporary chiller, all those kind of things with the new construction. Some of the units just didn't work out as they were specified, so we have replaced those already. By the time school starts again, all HVAC, all those heating and AC issues should be repaired.
okay,
We've been working on it since we heard about it.
okay,
If you want to contact somebody, it would be Adam again.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
All right. Anyone from the public with a question or a comment for this presentation? Anyone online?
We have someone on Zoom, Mr. Chair.
Wonderful.
All right, Christina, I'm gonna allow you to speak. All right, and you should be able to unmute.
All right.
Christina, if you can unmute. The unmute button should be at the bottom of your Zoom.
And maybe her question was answered during the presentation.
Maybe, okay. All right, Christina, if you do have a question later on, raise your hand again.
Could she type in her question? No.
All right. Thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time
thank
coming in,
you.
and we're excited for the future.
We are very excited. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, please.
with Councilwoman Eva here.
Yeah, of course.
Can we go back?
Would you like to go ahead and give us a step or so your update?
Council is going to be on a break for regular council meetings, but tomorrow we will be voting on the canvas of the vote. So that'll just be essentially, accepting the primary election results tomorrow at City Hall. Other news, we've got the artwork printed for the Sky Vista banners. So Abby has been working on getting that scheduled for kind of a little media event to unveil those banners. You guys remember the artwork we picked out? Abby's done just a really wonderful job working with the artists and coordinating everything and getting everything printed and all that. So, everybody should really give Abby a round of applause. She did a great job. But,
Art's hard, guys.
yeah.
Art's hard.
Worst job ever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, outside of that, the city council approved funding for a fence to keep horses off the road. Further south of Reno, kind of along Veterans Parkway. I don't know if you guys are aware, there's been 49 collisions with horses and vehicles along that stretch of road since 2019. So this was, in my opinion, something that was very needed for public safety, and also, having wild horses is kind of a cool, unique part of Reno. So happy to have that constructed to keep people and horses safe. So those are my updates.
Thank you so much for being here, and Mr. Trina. I'd like to take the opportunity now to go ahead and proceed to C2 for Habitat for Humanity.
I did.
You guys can sit. We need to. Okay, well, guess I'll have to. It's all good.
Right, we should be good to go. Yeah.
It's like, wow, what is that?
Yeah, laser pointer.
Oh, shoot. They're outside. Mr. Chacon. I'll take that. Sorry, Mr. Chair, I apologize.
Thank you, Carol.
So I'd rather interrupt and be out of order than.
Yep.
Asking you to give us a minute.
They're almost on.
Yeah. Why isn't anybody calling me?
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Councilmember Ebert, staff, and members of the public. For the record, my name is Katie Brown with CFA Bowman.
I do have members of our team from Truckee Meadows Habitat for Humanity and from Lewis and Associates who are available to answer any questions. Next slide, please. Project location. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to travel out there and see the sites. We are north of Instead Park, the Little Triangle. Also north of Echo, west of Mount Vita, east of Mount Charleston. We are adjacent to RTC bus route, number 7, which travels about every 30 minutes through the area. We do have a bus stop located right there. So we have an existing bus stop that can satisfy anybody's needs for transit. Next slide, please. The master plan on the site is multifamily neighborhood. The zoning is MF30, which allows us 30 dwelling units per acre. Nice thing about this, the site is conformant with what the existing designations are on the site. So we do not need to request any zone change, any master plan amendments. So we're good to move forward. Our project request, we are asking for a tentative map for 22 lots to be developed by Truckee Meadows Habitat for Humanity. We are targeting certain lower income individuals, 6% area median income is our target, equal to or lower than 60% of the area median income. We're also asking for a sidewalk waiver for certain portions of the site, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Project site history, again, if any of you had been out there and seen the buildings and the state they've fallen into, Habitat acquired this property and demolished them. So currently we just have pad sites from the existing structures and some sidewalks. Surrounding uses are the Sierra Nevada Job Corps to the west, similar housing and a Reno Fire Department station to the north, vacant land to the east, and single-family homes pretty much to the south. There's also a privately held park to the south, Stead Park. Next slide, please. These are the existing site conditions from the last 2 months. You can see most of the horizontal buildings have been eliminated, vertical. The horizontal exists. You see some pads, some sidewalks that are still in existence. For the most part, the sidewalks are in pretty dilapidated shape. So they will be looked at as we get further in the project. Next slide, please. Here is the proposed preliminary site plan with landscape plan. Our average lot size will be about 5,100 square feet. Our home sizes will be below 1,250 feet. We are going to be providing about 50 parking spaces in total interior to the site. That includes driveway parking on the lots and street parking. Next slide, please. This is our regarding our sidewalk waiver request. This is the immediate area and the sidewalks that exist. The lighter blue is the existing sidewalks. As you can see, they surround the site. The darker blue will be new and reconstructed sidewalks for the project. The sidewalk waiver area is the red ones. We feel we have enough east to west connections. That's why we are asking for this section to be waived. We've also got a sidewalk across the street about 30 feet. It seems silly to put in sidewalks when we have something so close. Now, the north-south connection to the right on the west side of Mount Vita is the one we're more concerned about. If we are required to put this sidewalk in, it would stub out and stop at our end of our parcel there. The nearest connection point is Cocoa, which is about 600 plus feet away. There are 2 parcels in between that do not have any existing sidewalks, so there's no connectivity we can provide. City code allows for us to request the sidewalk waiver if there's no connection within 300 feet, so we meet that by quite a bit. If you feel that this is something that you can support, please make a comment. Staff has been asking us these questions. They want us to find out what we can receive the input from you guys. Next slide, please.
Basically, our development statistics, I'm not gonna bore you with anything, our setbacks are standard Reno Municipal Code for MF 30 zoning, so we're not asking for any changes. Next slide, please. Project summary. Feel good project of the year, hopefully. We're gonna provide alternative housing opportunities for lower income individuals to that point of the less than or equal to 6% AMI. There is an existing transit route with a transit stop in easy walking distance. We do feel we are providing plenty of pedestrian access throughout the site to the surrounding area. We do have walkable routes to the schools that are close by. They're about a third of a mile, a little less, 1,500 linear feet. We've actually spoken with Mr. Chisholm, who is here speaking tonight, and we have initiated discussions regarding safe routes to school. And we hope, if any of you have seen the buildings that existed before and or what the site looks like now, we feel that this project is going to help improve the neighborhood, make it prettier. And next slide. And any questions?
Wonderful. Any questions from the board? Yes,
John White, for the record. What about the sewage and other infrastructure in that site? Everything there was ancient from, I worked the Job Corps there for back in '84, and I knew what those X buildings were. And there was a problem then with plumbing and sewage and things like that. Are you gonna have to build everything new
I'm going to
underground?
pass that along to somebody smarter than I am. Billy, answer please.
Yeah, so, I'm Billy Anderson with Loomis and Associates. We doing the engineering on this project. And yeah, so sewer is a concern of ours. There's a sewer main that goes right through the site. We will be using that. We'll also be having a camera. So we'll be looking at, make sure there's no clogs, any valleys in it of concern. And then everything else is actually gonna be new. So all the water mains, the storm drain infrastructure that we need to be. So it's really the sewer is the only, even electrical communication, those are all gonna be new. Gas, all new infrastructure. Like I said, sewer is the only concern we'll be addressing.
As part of the habitat, are the people supposed to be participating in building these homes? Or do you get started, they do get some equity in there, right?
They have to, put in 500 hours
Yeah.
worth of their own labor, which is excellent. They learn how the house is built. So they'll know better how to fix their toilet later on, or some little minor repairs that come up. They'll know how to sheet rock, they'll know how to do their patches. Yeah, they learn quite a bit.
How fast is it build out in something like this?
It's so hard to tell. I'm sorry. Mainly because not only is it funds, but we mostly rely on donated work. So just depends on how many of you guys show up to help us build them.
This is
Introduce
actually,
yourself.
sorry, really quick. This is Kimberly Clark. She's a construction manager with Habitat.
I just started with them, but I've been involved with Habitat for decades, at least.
So she'll be the one to answer the question about start construction.
Awesome. Any other questions for the board? Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Councilwoman Ebert, for the record. I assume that you guys are aware of like different things you can apply for with the city to help with this too. So like waivers for like sewer connection fees and things like that if you meet certain requirements for affordable housing.
Yeah, we'll be pursuing that stuff.
Okay,
As we
okay.
get into finalism.
Okay, great. Great.
Kathleen Egan, can I just make a suggestion for future presentations and for communicating press releases, the city public comment for our neighborhood? Low income is a trigger word for neighbors with their NIMBY syndromes. It's really, really good when you can use workforce housing. Workforce housing is our families, it's their kids, it's their kids that have a $20, $25 an hour job at the warehouse. Low income has a certain stereotype that unfortunately we can't get over when the city tries to pass these things. People understand workforce housing. It is your first year teacher making 40 grand. It is your first year fire person. It is your person at the warehouse that's, a half mile away. And I think it's very, very important to really, really look at the communication and the language used because that helps pave the way for then city council people's jobs and explanations. Why did you approve this in my neighborhood? Because your families are the workforce, and we
Yeah.
need workforce.
It's a good suggestion. We worked on, how do we present it? And we'd kind of thrown out the workforce housing as well. The low income was something to talk about me. I do apologize for that. We thought that saying what the target audience was, the AMI percent might be the better way to go. Be a little bit more quantitative.
And 60% AMI is workforce housing. And this is what we use to get our housing in Fernley, Fallon. This is what we use in the rurals to convince people, to educate them on what this means.
Right.
It's not Section 8.
Right.
These are working people who have the opportunity for the American dream to actually have acquisition and home ownership and pass that down to their children.
No, thank you very much for the suggestion.
Sure, oh, sorry, go, please.
Ben Johnson for record. So I know you guys were talking about the sidewalks and possibly not doing one section of it.
Yes.
I walk to and from work every day and I live a quarter mile from where this is being built. Having the ability to have sidewalks everywhere is fantastic. And I know if where I bought my house, if I didn't have a sidewalk, I'd be kind of disappointed in that, and I probably wouldn't even go about buying that house.
Right.
I'm obviously in a different financial situation than someone who'd be buying this, but having sidewalks everywhere, I think it's great for a lot of things. Yes, across the street, there's a sidewalk that you guys are, presenting here, but having one in front of your house where you walk out to the street, there's a sidewalk that you can walk up and down, I think is very positive. So, I know you guys are, possibly wanting to waive that because of the distance to connection. Totally get that, makes sense. But starting it, the next, when you start that process, maybe the owners who are of those two lots that don't connect it or that are right adjacent to it will be inclined to put them in. I walk up and down Stead every day, and there are parts of it that don't have sidewalks, which almost puts me in the street so I can watch traffic for a good half a mile every day. And that just sucks. And that's just because there's no one who owns that property yet. They haven't been made to put sidewalks in yet. So just a suggestion, I really would say, please put in the sidewalks as much as you can.
That's why we come here.
Yeah.
City of Reno owns property north, that's the fire station, and is the Catholic Diocese owns the next parcel out.
Got
it. Yeah, we will bring that forward.
Rebecca Flannery for the record. I just kind of want to add on to that. As far as sidewalks and people coming in and out of their homes, how is that ADA compliant?
I don't have an answer for you. We talked about it. I actually asked that same question of my manager. There's not an ADA. I don't want to misspeak. I really don't want to misspeak on it. Let me make sure. Sure.
So there is no ADA requirement,
Okay.
as far as getting into a house like this. There's no, if you think of like a typical house, there's steps, right? Those meet building code requirements, but there's not a ramp required in each home, right? So it's the same kind of concept. If an ADA route needs to be provided on all public streets, but only one needs to be provided. I believe the sidewalk on the opposite side of the street isn't
So
required to.
But what about these people that come out over here? Are they in gravel?
No, you can come out your driveway and then you're immediately onto asphalt, so
Okay.
they're not gonna be, or sidewalks out from their front door to the street, right, it's not really any different in that respect, you still have a walkable surface out to the street.
So Kathleen Egan, since I have 2 grandkids in my home, if you have the opportunity to have those sidewalks in now, is about, I know, penciling in your project with your performance, you've probably got a lot of obstacles on how to even get this project, and I really, really appreciate you even getting this done. And there's certain things that might have to be cut just to pencil in. The cost of concrete keeps going up. But if can be penciled in for the future of these families and those 1,200 square foot homes that are going to be starting families, and you've got a 6-year-old on a bike, which I've got a 6-year-old on a bike on the sidewalk. And I'm very blessed that my developer was able to pencil that in. So for future, be good.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Sorry, Councilmember Ebert, for the record. So I know that this has got a long way to go still. But, is this something where like maybe I could look for community partners to make a donation for sidewalk? Like, is the reason for not doing sidewalk just the cost? Or is it interfere with the configuration for the parcels as well? Like, is there more factors here? Or is it just the cost of the concrete?
My thought, and I may be speaking out of turn, but it's more that we build that, it ends at our parcel, and it's this
Does it
bridge
go
to
down?
nowhere, it's a sidewalk to nowhere,
Okay,
and all it does is exist and degrades. So once we build it, maybe the city of Reno and the fire department put in the sidewalk in front of their parcel. Maybe the Catholic diocese puts it in front of theirs, and we actually get a connection to COBRA.
okay.
You
But we
build it,
can't
it will
guarantee
come.
that.
So would it still be in front of the homes?
It
Would
can't
there
be
be a
yet.
sidewalk in front of the homes? No
Not that red
sidewalk.
one.
No, if you go back to the.
Yeah.
the
Cause
slide.
yeah, it looks like there isn't one, but I'm just trying to
There's one,
understand.
there's one across the street, but we were
Okay.
requested.
Well, I guess what I'm asking here is there any reason with parcel configuration or lot sizes and things like that, that is causing you to design it without a sidewalk? Like,
So yes, it does. So if we added, the site's actually really tight based on the current architectural plans that Habitat's working with.
mhm,
If we actually added another 5 feet, we would be losing at least 4 parcels.
okay, so that's something
Oh.
to take into
Okay.
consideration.
Yeah, so we would essentially, what you do is you would add the sidewalk in, the street would push down
Yeah,
feet, and then lots 11, 16, 17, and 22, the ones along
yeah,
that street, they would have to go away. We can't, because we don't meet setback requirements.
Yeah. so it's not just about connection, it's about configuration.
That makes sense.
Okay, so thank you for
makes
explaining that.
sense.
I had a feeling it might be a little more involved, but
And we
thank
did
you.
choose to do single family homes instead of doing something like 90 condominiums or something of that nature. You know, so it's kind of nice to give them.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree.
A lot.
And there is a sidewalk on one side, so, because I'm also
Yeah, now
sympathetic
it's
to bike
just-
riding, I have littles too, but I also would like people to have homes, so.
I think Habitat for Humanity is an amazing thing. I really do.
appreciate you.
So, Jared Southern, for the record, I have a question about the program. Is it that when they come into these homes, they purchased it and that they have to make monthly payments, like a mortgage, or and if they I guess age out, meaning that they've earning more money than they should, and that they lose the opportunity to live in that home any further, or how does that work?
The way it works is, for the first 5 years, Habitat is completely partnered with the owners. After the first 5 years, then they start to actually gain equity on the home. And until they, once they finally just pay off the home, they can do whatever they want to with it. The loans that are given to them are ridiculously reasonable loans. So there's a couple things just in place just to make sure that the home doesn't get lost and, you know, and go off to La La Land. If the home does have to be taken back, which has not been a problem, but if it had to be taken back, then it would go back into Habitat and Habitat would find another family for the home.
Thank you. All right, any other questions from the board? Corey Bond in the public, would you like to make a comment or question regarding this?
We just worked the polls. I don't know if they're on it.
Way to go.
Or Corey,
Oh, okay, am I allowed to speak now?
do you have a question?
State your name, sir?
Corey Bond for the record. I will say this, and gentlemen, I'm not scolding you, I'm just pointing it out. If the ADA needs to be followed, do your best that you can. I'm not saying you have to, I'm saying do the best you can. Because I was recently given a tour of a big facility and it's modernized and they said, oh, look at it, it's state of the art. And I'll tell you right now, there are 2 restrooms in this facility and they are totally, let's put it this way, corners were cut and there's no question. And everybody sees it, but nobody's doing a darn thing about it. And I'm sorry, if these restrooms are disabled, you can't even get in the restroom if you're in a wheelchair. So all I'm gonna say is, again, I'm not criticizing, I'm not saying you have to, but if it is necessary, I would highly recommend that you do what you need to do to try to comply.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. Thank you for speaking up. Any other questions from the public, including, from online? No.
Seeing none at this time, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you so much for this
Thank
presentation.
you,
Look forward to
guys.
seeing you.
It's great work. I
We'd
do
love to
having
hear
us
about
in May.
groundbreaking.
Such an amazing program.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
At this time-
Councilwoman Egan, Councilwoman, what is it, Abert, Kathleen Egan,
Yeah.
I've got some contacts. I think that's a really good angle for us to start working on our contractors for products, man hours.
Okay,
We've got
great.
contacts with a lot of stuff too.
great.
This is gonna be exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm bringing on someone to you.
If we are.
Yeah, so are we at
Are we
item
moving
D
into
yet now
item D?
for, or what would you?
Where are we at? No, I'll wait till.
Okay, so right now we're at item D for board, commission, committee, and member reports and announcements. Anyone from the board with announcements or reports?
Ms. Ebert, I did have a bunch of people shoot some emails to NDOT regarding the Golden Valley.
Great.
And they state that it is not in their plans to destroy or to remove any of our on-ramps or off-ramps.
Okay, so.
That is their response.
Yeah, and I've met with them earlier this week, so. They're being technically correct, but the reality is if you enter the freeway at Panther Valley. 395 going north, you will not be able to exit at Golden Valley. So there will still be an exit at Golden Valley, but you're gonna have to already be on the 395 to use it. And that is currently the way it is, and I know that because I met with them this week. I've been in a
I know,
conversation,
usually.
trying to fix it. I've gone and met with people from the governor's office 2 weeks ago. I've met with people from Senator
Rock.
Rosen's office. I'm going to be meeting with somebody from Amadei's office. These people are not the boss of NDOT, but they can help me put some pressure here. I've also got a letter from our school board representative for the area to submit his concerns, because that is our access for police and fire to access North Valley's high school, Alice Smith. If
Yep.
we get the Matter Academy right here, they're gonna be coming up Virginia. And if they get on at Panther Valley, then they're gonna have to exit Lemon and come back down on North Hills, which
Right.
as it stands is 1 lane.
Do you
So-
have any like projected images or anything? Because if
They-
they can get that, I can go around and be like, you know,
They're-
this is
they're
plans
on-
and get the community involved.
They're on the NDOT website, but the way they're rendered,
Very.
it's not really clear. You
Okay.
can't really tell because the configuration has changed. They're calling it a braided
Mhm.
on ramp and off ramp, so that you're looping around and you're getting on after the exits happened.
Right.
So, so they're being, like I said, technically correct. There's still a Golden Valley exit, but ask them to say, if I get on at Panther Valley North, can I exit at Golden Valley?
And if we, like I said, if we can come up with like something that's not confusing, I will
Mhm.
stand in front of Rayleigh's. I will get, if you tell me how to get some signatures, I will
Yeah.
start this process.
Yeah.
And I
Well-
have people that are willing to help go around the valley. too.
Wonderful. I love that. Yeah, I don't know, like, we
don't know
can
if we
work on
push
that. We can look at the rendering and see if we can look like label it so it looks more clear, but it is just confusing. And when I met with the people from Governor Lombardo's office, like, we had a map and we were looking at it and I had to explain it like
It's not
several
feasible.
times.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're not intelligent people, it's because it's confusing, you know, and unless you live here and drive there like we do, people don't really understand
Right.
like what's happening there. So,
So,
yeah.
just to clarify this question, again, the braided on ramp and off ramp is not allowing 395 northbound to get off at Golden anymore?
Yeah, if you get on, if you
If
get
you're
on
at
the
the Panther.
395 north at Panther, you will not be able to exit at Golden Valley. You will have to exit, the closest exit you can get off on is Lemon Drive.
At our meeting, I think it was in October, they presented, they said that they were aware of it and that they were working on a solution that might allow, but they've decided to table that due to cost, huh?
Yeah, they were, and there's some other complications too. There is the NV Energy power lines and a Union Pacific Railroad
Yes.
bridge there. So it's not just an easy fix. I'll give them that. It's gonna take some engineering, but it's worth it. We need it. We have to keep our access. So myself and some people from RTC have been supporting me on this, because what also is gonna happen is that traffic that would be taking that jog will have to take Virginia to get to Golden Valley.
Or bug.
So, you know, it's already backing up to Bonanza. How far are we gonna back up on Virginia, right, to get to Golden Valley? And if there's an accident on Virginia, then you can't get to Golden Valley. You're gonna have to go all the way up to Lemon, double back around, and it's like, it's not just the schools that are there. There's a lot of people that live in Golden Valley too. So I'm really just stressing to them that we have a lot of people that live out there, and we currently only have 3 lanes. I know they're widening the freeway, but we only have 3 lanes for all of us to access the North Valleys. And we can't lose any access. We need to be increasing our access. So to lose anything is not acceptable to me. So this has kind of been my crusade. NDOT stopped taking my calls for a while, but they started listening again. But it's gonna take some finagling, and they're trying to figure out a way to make it safe. And you know, we want to ultimately widen the Union Pacific Railroad Bridge and move the power lines, but that's gonna be like at least a 2-year project, not because of us or NDOT, but because of working with Union Pacific and NV Energy. They take time, and they are on their own timeline. They're not on City of Reno timeline or even State of Nevada timeline. So it's just a lot to be up against, but
Is there any support of getting RPD, because the emergency vehicles are even an issue, like when we have the wildfires up here,
there's
they were
stuff.
blocked. They
Yeah,
couldn't get through.
yeah.
So if
That's
you,
my next
so
thing,
if
is
you have
talking to police and fire.
emergency at
too.
North Valley's High or Alice Smith, and RPD is coming because they can't get there, it's blocked, and they're coming.
And then they have to go up to
So the
Lebanon.
delay,
Yeah,
so getting RPD, getting the fire. But as far as educating the public, is there any rules of city council people doing like opinion, you know, they have the opinion articles on RGJ? Or you got, or
No,
we asked Joe to go investigate something.
Oh,
Are
that's
there
just great.
rules, not rules, of how we can bring these up to attention level to
I
get
was also
something
thinking-
in the public?
well, I've been trying to see where I can go without, you know,
Right.
burning bridges.
Yeah.
And it's been a struggle, but this last meeting that I had, joint meeting with City of Reno engineers, RTC and NDOT, I think was probably the most productive one we've had. So it feels like we've finally kind of gotten over this hump of it'll work to like, okay, we need to really fix this. So we're gonna have another meeting. And the problem is, the grading of the road and the width of it. And my other complaint, or I shouldn't say complaint, another thing that I'm mentioning is everybody tells us all the development's gonna happen in the north. So we're gonna have to figure out how to move these poles and widen this Union Pacific Railroad Bridge sooner or later. So let's do it now and not have to rebuild this, more times than we need to. So that's been like probably one of the most important things on my mind lately. Cause just the thought of, I remember when they had the Lemon Drive on-ramp and off-ramp closed down for a weekend, and there was accidents on North Hills every day, seeing fire trucks drive over the sidewalk to get to people. I don't want that if there's something going on, on Golden Valley and people can get there.
And is this the follow-up that we could ask for this specifically for RPD to come to us and give us a report of what happened when we have, because we warned them when there's an accident, something happens, what's gonna be their access? And the fire department, they have the data now of, we have a real life event that happened, and they have data of how long it took to respond.
Yeah, when does the fire department come back? They should be here in the next month or so.
So RPD comes in August, and then RFD, I believe, comes September or November.
We
Okay,
can
so,
request a staff
Yeah.
report, and we can request an incident report.
yeah, so you guys would like response time
Mhm.
for police and fire? Okay.
And then if there's a way to like I said, if we need to get the, community outcry and do petitions. I have no idea how to do that, but I am friggin' willing to do it.
Grassroots, yeah. We've done it.
Oh, let's go. I'm down.
Pitchfork.
Let's roll. Let's roll. Let's.
So I actually, Jared Souther for the record, I really would like to,
Sorry.
we all did that. I really would like to have the opportunity to talk about that. And I really appreciate what you're doing, Councilwoman. We have, this has been in the plans for the 395 project, but again, we're looking at widening North Virginia Street at Panther to Stead Boulevard in the next few years. And so that's gonna impede traffic as it is. It's gonna tighten it while they try to take downhill or do whatever to make it from
It's
2 lanes
gonna
to
be
3.
happening at the same time as some of the 395 track construction. Like, believe me, I'm ready to like go into hiding.
Yeah,
People
it's
are
everywhere.
so mad at me and it's like, we need the widening, but I can't make them change the
Yeah.
timing of stuff.
And so they committed last year that they're gonna put lights in temporarily at Golden Valley Interchange, and it hasn't happened yet.
They're going to, they are going to.
Yeah.
It's gonna go in there and, it's not gonna be until they start the second phase of the widening, cause it's ending at Golden Valley.
Yeah,
But they are gonna put temporary ones in there, and then after that, they are putting in permanent ones,
Correct.
just so you guys know,
Yeah.
that is on the
yeah.
horizon.
I know Corey has his hand up, but I just wanted to ask this question, because I feel like NDOT has not been doing well to communicate the project. There hasn't been really updates since January or February on their website. And so as you meet with NDOT, and maybe each of us can write, because they have monthly NDOT board meetings, we can write and express our concern, because it will be read by the board and the governor. Like just giving more transparency, like what's gonna happen in the next phase for the Golden Valley interchange? Is it gonna be divide or like limit, or is it gonna be something different? And to your point, how we lose our off ramp,
Yeah,
it's just,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense at all.
well, this is pure speculation, so don't quote me on it, but it might be because they are trying to figure stuff out, that there hasn't been an update because of that problem.
The back and forth with.
So
Yeah.
how do we get the information, like Jared just asked? I don't know when the board meeting is or where do you
It's
email?
posted, I can show you,
So if we could
yeah,
help,
second Monday of each
Like
month,
website.
but I can show you on,
okay,
I'll show you before we leave. Corey, I appreciate you being a valiant member of our community.
Wait,
What-
real quick, and I don't mean to cut you off either, but I'm gonna piggyback off what you just said. I also asked if they could review what they did at the Lemon Drive on-ramp and off-ramp as part of their next phase 2, because there's some things that maybe could be better on there too. And they said that is also in the plan, so that they will be kind of revisiting what they did there and maybe making some modifications in the next phase of the widening. So just an update there.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, Corey, go ahead.
For the record, Corey Bond. Thing is, guys, I can answer a bunch of questions. First of all, and it's not a permanent solution, but I do know that there is a substation instead for PD. So that could be a help. Again, it's not a solution, but I know there is usually an officer or two at that substation. So it could help in the response time. That's all I'm saying on that. Jared, to your question, I mean, I've seen McCarran backed up from Sutro, waiting to get in the furthest right lane to connect onto Virginia. And I've seen trucks backed up, and I've seen trucks just try to merge, and it's like, I don't care what's next to me. And, so it's getting worse, and, we all know that. But like you asked, how far are we gonna go down? We have, right now, Virginia is down to one lane between, Sierra and Waller. If you're going, south on Virginia, you come across and, right there at Sierra, it's only one way. It's only, it's only one road, one lane, and it's a pain in the neck. And what I see people do all the time is they're getting I'm in the right lane, or I'm in the left lane, I get people in the right lane and I keep my head on them like a swivel, just going like this, because I know what they're gonna do. And what they're doing now is they race up there and then they decide they're gonna cut over and head down Sierra Street. And what
all over
really has happened in the last month or so is you get the traffic that is ready to go down Sierra. Well, people are in such a hurry, they fly up, cut somebody off and go straight down Sierra Street. And it's reckless. So, you guys know, you all know me. I've lived here, maybe not as long, but I know what I see. And, it's not, and I'm saying this, but it's not a criticism of the city, because you guys also know me and I do not criticize the city ever. But I will say this, there's an agency called This Is Reno. And if you guys feel, or the people feel like they're not getting enough response, I would say reach out to them and see what they say. Again, I would not advocate that, you've asked the city. That's absolutely not
A
what
lot
I'm
of this is
saying. but-
NDOT. Bob Conrad doesn't mind pissing off anybody, so we take anybody on.
Councilwoman?
Councilwoman Ebert, for the record, I just want to say, it's okay to talk about where the city can make improvement, because if you don't acknowledge where there's shortcomings, you can't get better. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to say, hey, this isn't going as well as I think it could. There's nothing wrong with that. It's delivery, right? You're allowed to say, hey, this needs to get worked on. I just want to say that first of all. Next thing is, I have been asking the chief of police to have additional patrol in these areas where there's construction, because I was personally almost run off the road on Virginia, turning onto Virginia from North McCarran. And it was terrifying, honestly. And it was just because they didn't want to wait to merge, as a truck. So I've asked for that, but if you see things like this, all of us collectively need to submit Reno Direct tickets. And I know people think it doesn't help, but it does, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease. We have need all over the city, and the chief of police is going to send those police resources where she knows that there is need. And if she gets a bunch of Reno Direct complaints about reckless driving in these areas, that's where we're going to have the most police patrol. So I would highly encourage all of you guys to do that, not while you're driving, please, but submit Reno Direct tickets about that. And also, this reminded me too that Clear Acre, I also spoke to NDOT and RTC about the traffic light timing on Clear Acre again. And so they said they're gonna take a look at it. They said that there was some kind of timing thing that they had set, and they're gonna look at it again, but it is just a nightmare. And of course, none of these people have to drive during peak commute times, so I don't know if they really fully.
Or live out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not peak commute, it's every single day.
Yeah,
Maybe they could use a temper.
but especially at peak
People are
commute
getting
time.
mad, we're
It's
having.
turning
Turn it off and just use a temporary.
Drivers are getting mad, and that's why now we're having more road aggression, we're having more
Yeah.
accidents, because
Yeah.
they're so frustrated.
Yeah, but I do
What's it
want to
gonna
say
take?
that Reno Direct is incredible. Abby and I take tours of the ward periodically and just drive around and look for stuff to submit. And then I go around later and follow up on them, and the turnaround time is really great, like potholes, stuff on the sides of the roads, cars, RVs, carts.
Occupied takes a little bit because there's code.
Yeah, yeah,
But,
yeah.
but they do get situated.
They do a really great job. So I know sometimes people say, Reno Direct doesn't do anything, and that's just absolutely not true. There might be complications because of private property or what have you, but they really do a good job. And just submit stuff. It's really kind of a one-stop place for you guys, but then they send it to like all over the place, whoever can help you best. So
Okay, Corey Bond, first of all, I agree. But for me, I've sat in enough city council meetings before you came on board and listened to people complain. So I will not, I'm very careful, and I say, I won't complain because I don't want to be like everybody else. I won't do it. Before you came, you guys know me, I will not criticize the city. Because I would rather play devil's advocate and try to get things resolved peacefully instead of people just adding to the stereotypes like Councilman Ebert said, and just saying, well, it's horrible. Second of all, I did call Reno Direct twice. And they said, oh, there's nobody there to answer your call.
We
So-
submit online.
I mean, okay, but what I'm saying is it's harder for me to submit online. So all I'm saying is,
Let's look into
yes,
that.
you're right. And again, I will advocate for Reno Direct left and right. I'm just saying that I have had it myself where I go to call or try to get somebody and they're not available.
Okay.
Online portal, online portal, online.
Yeah,
portal.
yes. I do want to state for the record, there are 3 City of Reno Direct representatives. We're actually down 1. She took a different job, so there's 2, which is why the portal is best. And it's Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, which is, like I said,
Okay, you guys,
Administrative Center.
the reason I'm saying this is because for me, it is extremely
I
tough.
understand, Corey. I just want to let you know, like,
Yeah,
the
no,
3 people
but
for the whole city of Reno.
Right.
You know what
but
I
I'm
mean?
saying
That's why the
for
portal is
me,
best.
I only have one hand.
Right.
And I cannot type.
No.
And I'm trying to get the software installed so I can do my voice, but I found out that it's gonna be $106 out of my pocket. So, anyway, I understand it and I understand because most things, let's face it, most things, everybody says go online. I can understand that. I understand the convenience, I understand it, but sometimes there are people that cannot, for whatever
Right.
reason, specific reason,
Mhm.
cannot go online.
Yeah, and that's why we push to the people who can to
Right.
do online to open up those lines, but it's preference,
Right.
so obviously.
Thank-
But yes,
thank you,
Mr. Kerr,
Sharon.
we'll bring it back to you.
Thank
I
you.
think that's closing public comment, so.
Yes, but, any future agenda items elsewise?
Nope, I heard RPD, RFD stats requested for
Okay,
the next coming ones, so.
all right,
thank
very
you.
good. Thank you, each of you, for being here, being part of our wonderful North Valleys Neighborhood Advisory Board for Ward 4.
I did not scare anybody away, I promise.
They all left early.
Motion to adjourn,
Thank you.
Chair?
I,
that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a wonderful Reno Rodeo time, and we'll see you,
That's right, I'm
after the
going to
fair.
Coors Night. I'm going on Coors Night.
Okay, you guys, I'm gonna tell you all since the meeting's over, I'm leaving on a trip